they go with ministers set to ban foreign states' ownership of UK newspapers. Let's set the scene. So this, they say it's likely to block the sale of the Daily Telegraph. So you've got a guy who used to run CNN. He sets up an investment fund. He teams up with another investment fund that is privately owned by the Deputy Prime Minister and Vice President of the UAE. So it's key to remember it's a privately owned investment firm, because that comes back later. They want to buy the Telegraph and the Spectator. And everyone goes, well, we can't have foreign states owning our media. But that's the sticky wicket they've got you on, is that it's not state money. It's private money from someone who runs the state, or co-runs the state, I suppose. So there's a good question there. Should you have someone with that much influence? No one's ever bought a newspaper to make money. You buy it for influence. But they're going to lose some money.
But the fear, I presume, is that these are despotic states and therefore corrupt states, and they will attempt to influence politics as a result. But then didn't Rupert Murdoch kind of do the same?
Well, that's exactly my point. That if the rule has to, if you want to stop this happening, it can't be you ban state ownership. You have to ban foreign ownership, and then you've got to have a word with Murdoch. And as you say, the Times probably wouldn't like that.
No, probably not.
And everything's owned by everybody on social media. I mean, people are terrified of what's happening on TikTok, that the Chinese might try to influence us. But I watch cat videos, so I don't think I'm subject to that.
You don't really know about that.
It's weird. I mean, I think that we're all subject to all sorts of foreign influence all the time anyway.
Yeah, but is it particularly bad when it's like the the United Arab Emirates or somewhere like that, where it is dictatorial,
right.
And they will attempt to. But although we'd notice, wouldn't we, if you suddenly started having, propaganda sort of snuck into the Spectator? I think people would start to notice this.
If people were that quick to spot the influence of newspapers, it wouldn't be the case that one newspaper can effectively pick who's going to be Prime Minister.
Yes.
So they have that power. We don't always notice it unless it's blatant, and I think they're gifted at not.
Do you believe that, though? I mean, The Sun claimed that they won it, didn't they? The Sun won it. That was their headline. When it came to the Tories. But do you buy that?
Papers have been starting wars for the last 150 years. I do think it's true in the US.
You think they've got influence?
Yeah, I do. I think people, when they trust a publication, they really believe what they read on paper.
I will say about the Daily Mail, I think they've successfully made people think that judges are the enemy of the people and other groups. That people sit around in a pub not giving two hoots about judges. We wouldn't have thought about this until the Daily Mail decides to frame people as the enemy of the people.
I just don't know. I have more faith in humanity than that. I think people have their own ideas about these things.
You're higher educated, though, too, so there's that.
Well, no, but there's nothing to do. I mean, I think, that's a good example. I think, like, during Brexit, people said that the media was influencing the way people vote. People were debating that for months and months. Everyone was debating it.
Debating the ins and outs, literally ins and outs of the EU.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was thinking that judges were the enemy of the people. That is it.
Well, but then there was a very good legal argument that we had an activist contingent within the judiciary attempting to thwart it, and I think that case was made quite clearly. I think maybe the language might be inflammatory, but I think the argument itself, I don't know, I think people are maybe smarter than...
You have faith in critical theory, and anyway you voted for Brexit, we should move away from this conversation. But I do think that, yes, I think journalism, these newspapers have a political stance. That's the purpose of them, I think.